Hi, Roger Linn here. In this video, I'm going to talk about Linnstrument's many hidden settings.
What's up? You got your boy Dyreck, AKAI Native Shades, reminding you to like and subscribe, because today we're going to be talking about the Linnstrument. What had happened was... So the year is the 1980s, the 1990s, the 2000s. For 3 decades, this man's machines has been running the game. From the MPC 60 to the MPC 3000, even his influence on the MPC 2000. Roger Linn's machines were king. Think about it. Countless songs, countless folks use his machines, from Teddy Riley to Swiss Beats to Havoc to Q-Tip. Legend after legend after legend has used this man's machines. But, ladies and gentlemen, that was then, and this is now. And like everything else in this world, things started to change. Since the 2000s and even the 2010s, people used whatever they wanted. Folks were even making hit records on their phones. Times has changed. And around 2014, there was a void in music production. Nobody out was pushing the bar. ROLAND was concentrating on their System 1 keyboard. Okay. Korg was still thinking of ways to flip their MS-20. Really? Who cares? And the AKAI was still figuring out ways to bite native instruments. But on the low, ladies and gentlemen, somebody was actually pushing the bar. And that somebody was Roger Linn. You see, Roger noticed the problem in the music production space. Nobody was into making music anymore. If you went to a trade show like a NAMM or something like that, and somebody would have a new piece of gear out, the person would run up to that particular table and they'd say, hey, that's a cool keyboard. How many tracks can I use? And, you know, the developer of the product would say, oh, okay, you can use 12 tracks. Oh, 12 tracks, that's it? What is this? Where we're at, 1982? And the developer's like, no, do you, the person will cut him off. Oh, how many effects does it have? The developer would be like, it has 1,004 effects. 1,004 effects? What do you want me to do? Wear my bell-bottom jeans and grow an afro as well? I mean, I feel like I'm back in the Stone Age. Then the developer would stop the guy and say, hey, listen, do you want to actually play this and hear how it sounds? And the guy will start shaking. Like, huh? The developer's like, would you like to create a melody with this? Would you like to play something? The guy will shake like, does it have a touch screen? The developer will be like, hey, listen, do you want to make music with this or not? The guy will just run out of the NAMM conference, never to be seen again. Roger was like, listen, nobody is making music anymore. Everyone is just concerned about specs and features. But ladies and gentlemen, in 2014, things were about to change. Roger Linn was gonna make sure that the musician, once again, cared about music. And that was with the release of the Linnstrument. You're getting an isomorphic keybed with 200 notepads that respond to 3 dimensions of finger movement. You're getting the MPE technology, the MIDI polyphonic expression, enabling you to change timbre, pitch, and amplitude, all within the reach of your fingertips. You're getting an expressive swing arpeggiator with a split keyboard that includes strum and control faders. You're getting a low row feature that allows the lowest row of notes on the pad to be reassigned as a sustain pedal or a modulation or bend strip. You can play the Linnstrument on a table like you would a keyboard or standing like you would a guitar. Fantastic! All the Linnstrument's programming settings are available on the front panel, so you don't need to fumble with the computer. And it's also open source, so you can customize it as you please. You get a USB Type-B jack, a MIDI in and out jack, and ladies and gentlemen, you get a zipper travel case with an accessory pouch. Ladies and gentlemen, when Roger Linn released the Linnstrument, it kind of went unnoticed. Not a lot of people were aware this existed, and it's a shame because it's a fantastic piece of gear. You see, folks, 2014 was a weird time in music production. A lot of experimenting was going on, and a lot of companies were lost. And slowly but surely, in the production community, the chant of standalone was getting louder and louder. Folks wanted a standalone sampler. It's kind of like the movie Flash Gordon in the 80s. Remember Flash Gordon? Flash, din, 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 ah, saviors of the universe. For some reason, because of the intro, I wanted this movie to be like a dope comic book or a dope cartoon. But when you actually watch the movie, there's nothing cartoon about it. It's just a boring movie about Flash Gordon. You know, actually the Flash Gordon movie, it's all right, but still, I wanted it to be a cartoon because of the intro. That's how much folks wanted a standalone. And the timing of the Linnstrument might have just been off a little. And the Linnstrument was probably too futuristic for its time. Now, Roger purposely aimed this at guitar players, bass players, cello players, violin players. These folks rarely have gear created for them. Usually, if you really think about it, think about the gear that all these companies make nowadays. It's all keyboard based. It's all for keyboard players. They rarely make something for a guitar player or something for someone that plays the flute. They don't come out with any creative instruments for these folks. You know what I'm saying? Everything is keyboard based to the point a guitarist has to fiddle with a weird pinch bend wheel in order to create vibrato. You know what I'm saying? Or pitch their sound. This isn't really intuitive to a string instrument player. Now, the workflow of the Linnstrument is pretty simple as long as you understand the basics of an isomorphic key bed. You know, something you would find on an Ableton Push or an AKAI Force. You know what I'm saying? So it basically operates like a string instrument, sort of like, a guitar. So think of each of the rows kind of like a string. So each of the rows are 2 full octaves of consecutive semitones. And that's really about it. The rest is pretty much plug and play. All the settings are labeled on the surface of the Linnstrument, so it's pretty easy to navigate. If you want to split the key bed, you just press split, and now half your key bed could be playing low bass notes while the other half could be playing strings. But the real awesome thing about the Linnstrument is its attention to detail. Since it's polypressure sensitive, it's easy to add vibrato to your notes by just touching a pad and wiggling your finger. You'll be able to add vibrato. And to add pitch, all you have to do is slide your finger to the right of the key bed and back down to the left to mess around with the pitch. And if you slide your finger up and down the key bed vertically, you can affect the timbre of the sound. Now, after a couple of years, Linn added a 2-track 32-step sequencer, which allowed you to have any time signature you wanted. You could have different loop lengths. You could even reverse the sequence while the sequencer was playing. So he added some pretty dope updates to the Linnstrument. So when the Linnstrument came out, it was about $1,000 for the small version and $1,500 for the big one. Now, these were pretty steep prices for a MIDI controller. I mean, even though it's a fantastic, expressive MIDI controller, in a lot of people's minds, it was still a MIDI controller. And folks have been trained to pay like, $100 for a MIDI controller. Even if you ask someone to pay like $250 or $300 for certain controllers, they'll start arguing with the sales rep ready to start a war. But all in all, the Linnstrument did solve a problem for string-playing musicians. For the most part, the majority of the music production space is focused on specs and features. So it's nice for a change to have someone actually consider the musician, right? So that's the Linnstrument. What had happened was... So this is your boy Dyreck, AKA Native Shades, reminding you to like and subscribe. And I'm signing off.